Welcome back to another episode of Kavanaugh's Corner. If you're new here to the channel, what I usually do is I review 4K Ultra HD Blu-rays. I talk about their picture quality, the audio quality, special features, things like that. Today we're going to be talking about a Tom Cruise film. Tom Cruise has been very much in the news lately due to his new Mission Impossible being in theaters now. And I figured this would be a good time to review this movie. I picked it up actually a couple weeks ago, watched it recently, and this is actually kind of the first Tom Cruise running around like a wild man movie. Kind of started that trend, and that movie is The Firm, the Sidney Pollack film, also starring Gene Triplehorn, Ed Harris, Wilford Diabetes Brimley, who plays actually a really good part in this. Hal Holbrook is also in this. Again, just a fantastic movie. Gene Hackman is also incredible in this movie. I really enjoy this. This is based on the John Grisham novel. Sidney Pollack is one of my favorite directors of all time, and he really knew how to make kind of a tense thriller. And this is, I think, one of his best. This movie just really ramps up the tension from time to time, and I just love the story of it. That thriller mixed with legal aspects is just a really interesting thing. And it's not a movie you see that comes out very much anymore. I love these thrillers like this, where it's a very, very particular type of stakes. The stakes are very, very different in this film than they are in a lot of these other thrillers that come out today, where it's always about some kind of like a nuclear bomb or something like that. It's not like that in this movie. It's a very different, more personal type thing. And this is the first time it is on 4K. And so today we're going to be talking about the picture quality on this, because has an all new 4K transfer, and it has Dolby Vision HDR and everything like that. So let's jump right into the picture quality here. Yeah, so the picture quality on this one is, I'm sad to say, it's kind of a mess. It is not great. The picture on this, right from the get-go, and I mean right from the opening credits, you can pretty plainly see that there has been some heavy-duty digital noise reduction used, and it's really odd. It really reminded me of the 4K for Saturday Night Fever that came out, which is also a Paramount film, where there seems to be use of this digital noise reduction kind of infrequently. It's very odd. The beginning of it, the opening titles filled with DNR, that detail level just gone. It almost looks like there's Vaseline on the lens. And then that ends, and then the picture quality jumps up like in detail level 10 times. It's unbelievable, and you can see it. Like, it's noticeable to the regular viewer who's not, used to looking at these things. It is very, very noticeable. And then later on in the movie, it happens again in a different scene. And then it goes away for a while, and then it happens again, and then there's a close-up, and it happens again. And it just goes back and forth like that throughout the entirety of the film. It's so weird, and it kind of like knocked me off my chair when it happened, because the movie looks so good, and then that quality drops and all the detail level is gone, because the detail level on this disc, when the DNR is not in play, it looks pretty good. I mean, there is grain throughout the film. I don't know if the use of that digital noise reduction was to mitigate heavy grain in certain shots or in certain scenes. I just don't know if they just kind of maybe overstepped it a little bit in those cases, but you can see it. And again, that jump back and forth is so annoying to me. I don't know why I find it so annoying. Some of you may find it upsetting as well, but it's upsetting because the scenes where it's not used, the movie actually looks pretty solid. Like, it looks very, very good. The detail level is high. Again, you can actually see like details on the suits that the characters wear, because a lot of the characters in this movie are very well-off attorneys and people like that. And you get that like detail level to the nth degree when the DNR is not used, and that's very important to say, because when it is there, uh facial details are lost. It looks very, very almost kind of blurry at times. It's really weird, and that digital smoothing is very, very noticeable when it's used. The Dolby Vision on this I thought was actually pretty solid. It's not the greatest I've ever seen. It's a very natural palette. But again, this movie is very much grounded in reality. Even though there are some wild things that happen in this movie, it's a very grounded film, and that color palette goes with this film. It looks pretty solid. Greens and reds and things like that, when they are used, look really, really good. There's actually a shot not too late into the film where Tom Cruise walks into the law firm's office, and it has that green marble floor in that conference room, and that just jumps out at you. The greens in particular in this film really are spectacular, but it's not a color palette that is wowing by any means. Again, not every movie has to have that, like wild, saturated kind of color palette. It's a very natural one, and it does work for this movie. It really does work for this film. Again, it's not mind blowing, but it's definitely a big step up from the previous Blu ray in terms of picture quality, even though it is a step backwards when those scenes that I mentioned that use that DNR, those scenes really suffer. And the black levels in this disc are also not incredibly good. They're okay at best. There are a few that suffer from black crush, and there are a few that don't. Again, it's a very mixed bag, and it's kind of a shame because this is a really good movie. I mean, this is a fantastic thriller film, and it just did not get the transfer that I would have liked to seen it get. It's okay at best, but it's really not anything special. The sound quality on this I thought was very good. It is sadly just the same old 5.1 Dolby True HD audio track that I think the previous Blu-ray also had. So it's nothing new there, but it sounds pretty good. The dialogue is crystal clear. The music sounds great. Again, it's really not anything that I thought was groundbreaking, but it was serviceable to the film. I didn't detect any issues with it. I didn't have to bump the volume way up. It sounded very, very good. And the score of this movie is actually very interesting because Dave Grusin, is it Grusin? Dave Grusin. I think it's Grusin. Sorry if I pronounced his name incorrectly, but he was a frequent collaborator with Sidney Pollack and did some fantastic scores for his movies. And the score for this one is actually really interesting because it's all done on a single piano. There is barely any other instruments in there, and even the sounds that you hear on the soundtrack are him banging on strings and things on the piano, not always playing the piano, but actually using it as like a percussion instrument. Very, very different score, but I really like it. It's very unique to this film. And as a whole, I'd say, this disc here, there are no special features whatsoever to speak of. So, not great. It really, like I said, it really, really is a mixed bag. I enjoyed it, but also I can't say it's anything special. It is kind of all over the place. I would say if you're going to pick this one up, it is a big step up from the Blu-ray, but it's definitely not anything that I'd go crazy for. If you want to pick it up, though, I'll leave a link in the description below that leads to Amazon, and again, you may want to wait for a sale, but if you like this film like I did, you might want to pick it up. It's totally up to you, but just buyer beware on those picture issues. As always, I just want to say thank you so much for coming back to Kavanaugh's Corner. If you enjoyed this review, hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel so you can see when my next videos are released. If you hit that bell icon, you get a little notification. The next video I'm going to do is another Tom Cruise film, but this one fared a lot better than The Firm did. This is actually a big Oscar winner. Stay tuned, because that's coming up on the next one. Until next time, please stay safe and take it easy.